Hello guys, Bashar here. So I have a new build for you. I term it the AFK Simulacrum Farmer, but more aptly it should be the almost AFK Simulacrum Farmer. You can't fully AFK it, as you know. It's literally impossible because you have to gather the loot and you have to press the next wave and you have to move a bit in between the waves. But even if I disregard that, it's not fully AFK. It's fully AFK sometimes. What I mean by that is I can start, press the wave, and I can finish the wave without doing anything at all, right? And I can finish the simulacrum like this every once and then. So, I want to do it. I want to do it at all times. It's not really very doable because the simulacrum's modifiers will have effects on it. So anyway, let's get into the build. As you can probably see from your screen, we have an Infernalist, which is the only logical choice for being full AFK. Now people will say they have a full AFK Gambling, they have a full AFK Chronomancer, or sorry, not Chronomancer, I meant Stormweaver. I mean, when you are pressing buttons continuously, or macroing your skills, that is not AFK, right? I'm talking about hands-free, no macros going on. You just leave the character and passes through the web, right? Which I will be demonstrating in a minute. So how is it done? I'm using skeletal frost mages as my type of preferred minion. There are alternatives. I like the frost mages the most because they are, well, freezing, right? That's pretty important. So guys, your frost mage hits someone, right? They can't kill them, but even if they can't, they will freeze them, giving your skeleton mages to kill them before they act, right? That is pretty good. Because, last difficult simulacrum, the damage reduction and the damage bonus they receive is insane. I'm not very sure about the exact amount because it's not very properly documented, but as far as I know, it's about 96% damage reduction. And I'm not saying it wrong. 96% damage reduction. So you would have to deal 25 times the damage in their HP to kill them than you would normally. So guys, for example, a guy with 1 million HP will be effectively 25 million HP. Yeah, and they have something like 30 to 35% damage bonus. And if the simulacrum damage bonuses are nasty, for example, extra damage as chaos, right? Additional crit chance. There can be insane damage bursts, that could kill you. So anyway, so we use skeletal minions, skeletal frost mages, and the buttons that you see here are for show. I don't do anything, right? And in the rounds that I have to do something, it is mostly drinking a few flasks and running around a little bit. That's it, right? So I have kind of achieved the AFK. So what do we use? We use nothing but the hound that the Infernalist ascendancy gives us, and the skilled force mage, and everything else is just leap slam is for mobility if you actually need to move. So guys, what does this character not do? Very important, I would say. The thing is, let me go over what it can do. It can do the AFK simulacrum, and it can do nothing else. So what do I mean by that? Can't it map? Can't it breach, etc.? Well, it can't, because the thing is, guys, the boots that you want to use is Bones of Uller and doesn't have a movement speed on it. And we could have, of course, blink in the second set of weapon, etc., but we do not have too much in the way of mobility either, so we suck at moving around, right? And most importantly, guys, so for example, let me do this. I'm running here somewhere, and as you can see, and this is going better than normal, they are staying behind a little bit, right? Because, we are subjected to clunky AI. That's why it excels at what I'm talking about. In the simulacrum, you don't move much, so your minions are around you like a cloud, which is what we want. But in mapping, guys, you run, right? and they stay behind, and that leaves you susceptible to hits because you yourself do nothing, right? I can't do anything. So these two abilities are, the Orb of Storms. I will just go it, but let me show you. We have Font of Mana and Font of Life in it, right? It helps us regen life and mana. Let me expand a little bit. So guys, okay, now take a look at my mana. As you can see, it does feel much faster, and so does my life. And the Eye of Winter gives them susceptibility to crits, etc. But as I said, they are not normally used. Hypothermia reduces their frost resistance, cold resistance. Yeah, but as I said, not used at all. I mean, maybe sometimes I do the Orb of Storms to regenerate it, but I try to provide little to no input. So what do we have? Basically, guys, we have as I said, the skeletal Infernal Hound, and you could be wondering about this, how I have 6 sockets in here, because this is a skill that is granted to us by our ascendancy. It will gain its sockets as you level. So it will start off with 2 or 3 sockets, I think. At level 70 somewhere, I believe it gains its 4th socket, and the most important and the latest, at level 90, it will gain its 5th and final socket. This is an extremely good skill. He absorbs 20% of the damage that we take, etc. You might have noticed my insane level of skill in the skill of Frost Mage, which is capped, by the way. You cannot go above 40. And achieving this is sadly somewhat expensive. So the build is rather expensive, sadly. I mean, at least in order to achieve AFK Simulacrum farming. The others are just for show. And I have done this to just have level 20 skills, but especially the Eye of Winter and the Orb of Storms, they could be better served with being on the minimum level possible, because you don't use them to damage, right? So these can be level 9 or 13 or something like that. I believe Winter is 13 and Storms is 9 or something like it. So you could keep them there, because we do not use them for damage. The Orb of Storms provides the utility of the Font of Blood and Font of Mana, and Eye of Winter provides us the crit susceptibility. You don't need damage. Leap Slam, same thing. It can remain level 9 or whatever it is, the minimum level. So guys, let's go over the sockets. Skeletal Warrior comes to me from the Scepter. This sadly is the worst Scepter there is. Right? The other 3 are somewhat similar in power, and this one is the worst by far. So you might have, if you have an Infernalist, this is useful in leveling. Why? Because you have 2 extra minions that can tank some damage for you. But in the end, we don't need that, and the auras are better because we can put proper support in there. And now I have some garbage weak stuff in it. Right? I put the D&D mode on. Okay, so let me show you. What was I going to show you? I want to show you the gems. If you have any other kind of scepter, you will have an aura, and in the aura, you can put these in. You will have 4 sockets. We want clarity, more mana regen, vitality, more life regen, life per kill. This doesn't work with minions, but it can work sometimes, so that's that. And more life recovery. And guys, by not having a different scepter, I am losing out on all of these, and I am kind of gaining nothing. Culling Strike, Main, Physical Mastery, Blind. I mean, this doesn't really do much. I mean, if you can, get another type of scepter. So why am I using that one? Because I did find a lucky buy, and if I replace this with something else, the cost is going to be in the 100 Divines neighborhood, sadly. Yeah. So the Infernal Hound, this is pretty important. Minion Mastery, Fire Exposure. I mean, Fire Exposure only helps this fella himself, but yeah. More area, ignites, and another level. Yeah. He is pretty good. Takes 20% of the damage that you take. We'll get to that. So Frost Mage is very important. These supports are important. So Wild Shard is a must. You know, when they fire a projectile, it will sometimes split into 8. Beautiful. More cast speed, of course, right? That means more damage for us. Deal more damage, take more damage. We'll get to that. The take more damage is nothing, right? So more damage. So these are very much standardized, okay? There is no alternative for these. These three are certain. And we have cold penetration. You might have noticed I don't have cold mastery. I will explain why in a second. And we have fork as the final support gem. So fork is non-invasive support. What it does is it gives us a little bit extra AoE capacity, right? So we can replace this with scatter shot. Where do I have these? I have them here. No. Here, okay. So you can use scatter shot. Scatter shot reduces damage by a lot. So my skeletal mage that I will show to you, I have 140,000 tooltip damage, and this brings it down to I think like 90k or something. I mean, it gives us better AoE capacity, but lower single target. I have tried it, and you know, to be honest, I couldn't see too much difference, other than sometimes guys surviving for longer than they should. So I went back to it. Right, we have decent AoE capacity, you can see for yourself. But if you are lacking AoE, I guess this can be used. And the final alternative I would say is Cold Mastery. So why am I not using Cold Mastery, guys? Because I am at literal cap. If I put it in, it does nothing. And I know I was surprised at first. I put the Cold Mastery in, and my level was 40. I'm like, hold up, this is a cold skill, and it should have gotten the skill. And you know, I was so surprised. I tried on hypothermia, and sure enough, it gained the level, right? 22. But Scale Frost Mage remained at 40, and then it dawned on me, because I had never hit it, we have hit the level cap, guys. 40 is the level cap. So if you try to gain levels on a skill after 40, you just can't, right? Because 40 is the cap. So how is 40 achieved? It's not very easily achieved. So hypothermia, we have heightened curse and focus curse, but most of the time we will not be using these. Eye of Winter, we have strip away, inspiration, cold exposure, pierce. And of course these do help, right? The goal is to not use them. They are not bad, but they kind of defeat the purpose of the AFK farming thingy. Font of Blood, Font of Mana, Persistence, Chain. And for Leap Slam, Holy Descent, that gives us a little bit of regen. Wind Wave, so when we are leaping, if we get stunned, we try to stun them. Martial Tempo, more attack speed, useful. And Life Tap, this is the most important, I would say. So guys, we have Mind Over Matter, so our mana acts as a shield, sort of. So, you know, when you have a damage over time effect on you, like Ignite or Bleed or whatever it is, you can be fully mana depleted, right? But we want to use the Leap Slam to get out of danger, so that could be a problem. So we convert the Leap Slam cost into life, as you can see. So if I'm out of mana, I can still do it. As for the gear or passive first, passive 3 first then. So guys, we have something interesting. So we go for the first ascendance is the Hound. Direct the Hound is insanely good, right? 20% damage taken for you is beautiful. And then we go for the damage trading thingy. This also helps us because our resistances are capped. So 20% of physical is converted to chaos. Sadly, my chaos is not capped. And we go for this one. You might have seen the whopping amount of 5,000 life I have. That's for this, right? We get out of spirit out of that. And we do not go for these. We do not care for the life or energy shield. We go for additional life. So 5,000 life in total, guys. Pretty nice. We don't have a shield to speak of, right? That is accidental and incidental, right? The 500 shield I have. The mana should be around 1,000 at the end. I just have some on my scepter, so I have a little more. So as for the tree, guys, let me show you. I mean, there is a classic start. I have done some nice tweaks and moves there. So we go for the jewel slots, right? We go for the stuff that buffs minions. And we have Mind Over Matter as a keystone to provide an additional layer for surrounding guys, because we are AFK farming, right? Or at least try to. We do not have much use for our mana, so why not get a little more survivability out of it? Yeah, generally you can take a look at after, and we go for the jewel slots, some more minion nodes in here. You might have noticed, guys, if you know the tree by heart or something like it, I do not have too many minion survival abilities actually. I mean, there is a bit of resistance here, there is a bit of resistance there, and there's nothing else, right? So why? The thing is, guys, and this is not done by many other guides. Thing is, guys, because we are going so hard for the level, the minions are extremely tough on their own. Let me just show you. Take a look at this. 11k HP, 2.2k HP regen, 67% armor, and 78 resistances. This is just insane. They are extremely tanky. So most guys will suggest for going for some minion survivability nodes, guys. And when you do that, the minions go like 20,000 HP, 83 all resistances, 4k regen. But the thing is, they do not die anywhere in the content with or without them. So you can let go of those survival points like these, for example, right? You can let go of these and you can go for more damage, right? This will help you more get damage. But the thing is, this move can only be done after you have a decent level on the skeletons, right? And so, guys, the way to observe this is, as you know, when a minion dies, there is an annoying revive countdown here. And when you are playing, if you are never seeing that countdown, that means your skeletons are mighty survivable, and you can sacrifice survivability for some more damage. Let me show you here. Is it here? As you can see, I have 140,000 damage, and as you can see, I have 26 minions. These two are from the scepter and they are irrelevant. So 26 skeleton mages at 140,000 damage, guys. So I have derived the metric for measuring our potential here. So 120 times 26. So I have 3.64 million damage, right? That is my number of minions times my damage. And I would say this Simulacrum stuff should be starting to be achievable at about 2 million. So your damage times your number of minions should be 2 million or better in order to be able to do this. And of course, the lower it is, the more input you will have to do. I can go up to like level 11 or something without any input at all. Let's cut a long story short. Maybe no, let's go over here and then we can do our run. And thing is, guys, this is the only character I have played that does this. So you want armor. Funny thing, normally, guys, armor is quite subpar, but with this character we go insane amounts of strength. Take a look at this. I have 343 strength, which is insane. 51 dexterity, that is the absolute minimum for Morio Invictus, and 205 intelligence is required to use the level 20 skeletal frost mage. So what we want is 51 dexterity, 205 intelligence, and all of the rest goes into strength because it's more HP, right? And we have a lot of percentage life as well. That's how this amount of life is achieved. So let's go over it. We want as much skill gain as we have, and so the weapon is uncontested. It has to be a +4 trench timbre with a soul of Ascapa, soul core of Ascapa socketed in. That gives us 15 spirit. The way I would suggest starting this build is, guys, you get yourself a +3 trench timbre with a soul of Azkaban. So the problem is, though, the +3 trench timbre is something like a few chaos orbs or some exalted orbs, and this soul core of Azkaban is like 5 divine, so that is a little bit disproportionate. So what I have done myself is I have gotten myself a +3 trench timbre with a soul of Azkaban socketed in. Because you can take the sockets out, the value goes down drastically, right? And I have been able to buy it for 1 divine. I mean, it will take some time, but I will give you the budget recommendations. You can find it for 2, right? And if you are a little bit patient, you can get it done for 1. And guys, something I haven't gone over. So how much is this character? Mine is about 1,000 divine, sadly. Pretty expensive. Yeah, but doesn't have to be that way, because I told you mine damage is around 3.6 million, and around 2 million you can start pulling this off. So it can be done for much cheaper. I will keep giving you the advice. So for helmet, we do not have an alternative. It has to be a +2 minions with a +1 corruption helmet, right? As you can imagine, this is mighty expensive. All of the sockets will be 2% increased life, soul core of Hikwani or something. It's pretty cheap, like 40, 50 exalted, because it's not very popular, right? So that's not a problem. So you want a +2 minion skills with a +1 minion skills corruption, right? And of course, you could try to do it yourself, but it's going to be extremely painful. It's better to buy. What you want on it is a lot of life and some resistance if you could, right? Most of the time we want armor stuff. I just could find this, and of course, as you can imagine, it's pretty expensive. So there is that. Next up, we have our most expensive and almost impossible to find piece. So guys, sadly, most of you will not be able to achieve a neck like this, because this is not about the price. It's about the fact that this doesn't exist, right? It's impossible to find. I have looked for people that were offline. I have constantly monitored if the guy was online or something, right? And it was about 100 divine or something, but I would say if there is anyone that plays this build, they would pay up to like 1,000 divine for this, because it doesn't exist, right? Last I checked, there were 0 for sale. So what I'm talking about is, guys, flat life, percentage life, +3 minions, and spirit all at once, right? It's extremely hard to find, and of course, the numbers are also not that small, as you can see. We have quality in there, but still, if you take a look at it, it's the highest tier of life that you can roll on an amulet, I believe, tier 9. I'm not very sure if you can roll tier 10. The percentage life is sadly 1 tier lower. You could roll 78%, which can be improved to 8 to 9% with the quality. And spirit and minion, yeah, this is extremely hard to find, and I was lucky to find one with a resistance. The +2 all attributes is a little bit funny, but it's what it is. So guys, what I would suggest going for this one is one without spirit. Life, percentage life, +3 minions, and whatever else that you can get. Those are somewhat hard to find, but they are findable. It would go from, if you are lucky, I guess you could buy it for 10 divine, but it would be more around 50 divine. And Scepter, this is probably the most expensive-ish piece. What you want is a decent amount of spirit, damage, crit chance, crit damage, cast speed, and 5 minions. I'm not even talking about that, right? It's a given, right? 5 minion skills will have to be there, and you want any combination of and a decent amount sum of spirit, hopefully, and we want damage, crit chance, crit damage, cast speed, any combination of those. And thing is, guys, take a look at this one, and this one is worth about 200-ish divine. I mean, it was a very lucky buy for me. I think I bought it for 50 divine or something, but it is worth about 200, maybe a little bit lower, maybe a little bit higher, but it's around that. So I have been having a lot of difficulty, upgrading this. So for example, guys, if I look for an upgrade, I can get a moderate upgrade for maybe like 500 divine. I mean, what I can get would be, this damage you see there, 74%. I can get it to like 100, 110% or so. And everything else would remain the same around that level. And I just don't find it worth it, right? I mean, if we could get a serious upgrade for 200, 250 divine, I would consider it. But I'm getting a moderate upgrade for 500, thanks, right? I mean, if it was, for example, like 110, 115 damage and 200 spirit or something like that, then I could have considered it, right? Because I would be getting like 10, 15% damage on my minions and like 2 more minions. That would add up to something like 20% damage in the metric that we just discussed, minion number times minion damage. But that's not, 500 divine doesn't do that, right? So just give up on it. The rings will be, tailored to your needs. You will have to factor in your ingenuity, and you should be using them to cap your resistances or thereabouts. You can go a little bit lower on the chaos. My chaos is 56. Everything else is of course capped, right? They have to be. And what you want is again life. The rarity is just accidental, right? I don't go for it. So you want the resistances and life, right? And for the other ring, I have just used a lot of attributes because the build requires a lot of attributes. 51 dexterity, 205 intelligence, and rest goes into strength. So one of mine has a ton of resist and the other has no resist whatsoever. As you can see, our chest is, and that's the requirement for our dexterity, is Morior Invictus. Why? Because guys, we can have 5 sockets and 5% life per socketed core. So guys, we have a whopping 35% life from this item. How? Each socket gives us 5%, and in the sockets we have Hikwani, which gives 2% each, to that 5 times 5 plus 5 times 2, 25 plus 10, 35%. And guys, let me show you, this gives me a whopping 1000 life. Take a look at this. I have 5000, I have 4000. 1016 life. And guys, because of the ascendancy, that means I'm getting 40 spirit out of this. And also 50 resistances, that's also nice. It helps us capping in our resistances. So the rings should be the last thing that you're doing, because this is expensive, hard to get. This is very expensive and hard to get. So in the end game, we will be at minus 40 resistances, negative 40 resistances. Why? Because we get penalized 6 times, and the game gives us 10 all resistances for each difficulty, 10 for normal, 10 for cruel. So we get 20% back. So at the end, we are at negative 10. This gives us 50, sorry, and we start at plus 10 each, including the chaos, because the venom thingy will give us 10. So we will have 10, 10, 10, 10 each, right? So you will wear your stuff, you will take a look at your resistances, and then you can do the stuff. As for the glove, we don't need anything from it, so whatever kind of resistance and stats and obviously life we can get from it, right? So this is an okay one. It's not very good. I mean, I have 4 good stats in there, and increased armor and energy shield and accuracy are of course laughable. That's that. And for the boots, we have Bones of Uller. This is a fixed item, we can't change it. But I can give you a very important and valuable advice here, guys, because no one gave it to me, right? It's not out there. So guys, Bones of Uller drops with 20%, right? The undead minions have reduced reservation is by default 20%, and you corrupt it and hope for a 23%, which is capped. The important thing that no one mentions is for the Skeletal Frost Mages, the amount of reduced reservation that you need is only 21%. You don't have to go for a 23%. And if you know what that means is, that means more than 10 divine orbs saved. So because Bones of Uller is worth a few chaos or some exalt on its own, and when you corrupt it and the reservation thingy goes up, the price jumps big time, right? And 23 being perfect, it jumps up to low 2-digit divines, 10 to 15 divine or something like that, right? And I have bought this because no one told me, but 21% works, right? I took one hit for the boys, and I have personally tested this. 21% works. So how does it work, guys? By default, the skill of the Frost Mages have 35 spirit reservation per, right? The quality gives it 10%. This beautiful node gives us 12% reduced reservation. And that kind of stuff works additively as far as I've been able to work out. So that is 22%. And if you get 21% from Bones of Uller, that adds up to 43% of cost reduction. And when you do the math, that brings down the cost to 20, right? So 22 or 23% are just a waste. You can get a 21% and try to get one with a high life, right? The item rolls up to 40, but the Valor can get it past 40 as well. So the mana is not very important. So try to get a 21% Uller with as much life as possible, and obviously a socket, right? And so what you do is, guys, the Uller and the trench timber are fixed. You get this one, right? And you get the glow. Then you arrange your resistances properly with the rings and ingenuity. There will be some sort of math involved here. So my ingenuity is 86%. This is in the neighborhood of, I believe, like 70, 60 divine or something like that. No, I could have gone more, but that's the amount of spending I chose to do. For the flask, we have the unique life and the unique mana flasks both. The unique life flask is beautiful but optional, right? You can just get a 77, 78, 79%, whatever your budget allows you to get, right? A regular life flask. This is pretty cheap these days. You should get one of these. Because we have mind over matter, guys, we take damage to mana first before our life. This kind of acts like, all those, right? It's very similar. So guys, imagine I'm being hit, right? And I'm out of mana. Boom, take a look at that mana cost. And guys, boom, right? Instant 1000 extra life. Pretty good. And don't worry about the damage that it deals. It only deals like 25% of your current mana. So it's gonna deal like 300 damage, something like that. And if you can get Old Rot, you should. But Old Rot is very expensive these days. This is worth less than 1 divine. And this is worth about 40 divine. So it's perfectly optional. There is one thing I haven't gotten into. There are the jewels. So we want a Megalomaniac with Endless Blizzard. Endless Blizzard gives +1 level to our cold skills. Should be somewhere there. Yeah. So that is another level for the skill of Frost Mage. The other unique that we have is this one. Sadly, this is the most expensive item in the build. +3. So this drops from the Arbiter, and it gives +1 to 3 to a random skill. You can imagine how hard it is to get, because he only drops it on the max difficulty. He drops it very rarely. He has to drop it. It has to be a skill of the Frost Mage, and it has to be a +3. And as you can see, because the item is corrupted by default, you cannot, divine orb to get +3. It has to drop as skill of the Frost Mage +3. It's very rare. This is about 300 divine, the most expensive piece in the build. And of course, I can go much higher, right? Ingenuity, high ingenuities, 90% above ingenuities are very expensive. Scepters can go up to like a mirror very easily. But the way it is, my most expensive piece is this. I do not have any other unique jewels. What do I have? So guys, all of my jewels are in this format. Let me show you my best one. This was So guys, that is what you want. So at first I went for minion attack and cast speed, increase minion damage, and increase crit chance. The thing is, these outperform those. Increase minion damage, increase minion crit chance, and increase minion crit bonus. This is the best possible, right? What I did was I tried to get the sum of the three to be equal to 50 or better. So, you know, I just add the three numbers up and it exceeds 50 and, you know, I use it. This one, of course, is insane. It's 58. It's almost perfect. 60 is perfect. The damage goes up to 15%. The crit chance goes up to 20%. And the crit damage bonus goes up to 25%. So this one, I would say, is upwards of 50 divine. I did buy it for cheaper, but it would be worth more than 50 divine for sure. It's very good. And thing is, guys, the other stuff that you can get, sadly, they are almost all worthless. Spell damage is worthless. Cold damage penetration is worthless because that is for you, right? The only one, spell damage, chaos damage, sadly, useless. So what you should try to get is, you know, that immune to main, immune to corrupted blood, cannot be hindered if you can. But the thing is, because I went for really decent jewels, I just couldn't. I think I have energy shield somewhere here. So that's the best one I could get. And of course, you know, energy shield doesn't do too much for me. I mean, it's, how much is that? 66 energy shield. I mean, it's not nothing, of course, because, you know, for example, this is nothing, right? 10% increase chaos damage is nothing. It's not nothing, but it's not also very big. I don't think I have anything else, right? Yeah, I have, that is recent. That sadly is useless to me, but if, you know, if I had gotten it earlier, of course, 6% lightning resistance is something. Maybe I could have gotten another ring or anything. So yeah, I don't think I have anything else. These damaging ailments, magnitude ignite, these are all worthless because, for example, the ignite is being inflicted by the hound, and so it doesn't help you. Just the same thing over and over. So guys, 3 modifiers, don't mind it because, you know, effectively almost all of your jewels will be 3 modifiers. So if you're wondering if you can get damage, attack speed, crit chance, and crit damage, because of the suffix affix distribution thingy, guys, the only way to get a 4 modifier one is to get it via corruption, a 5 mod jewel. I don't want to know how much that will be worth, right? It would be like hundreds and hundreds of divine and absolutely not worth it, right? You can just spend it for some. I mean, you could just get a better ingenuity. And I did talk more than enough. I think this is everything. Do I have to go over anything else? I don't think so. So now you can watch the thing in action. So guys, mapping is bad. Anything else is bad. I do not suggest it because when we have to move, it sucks. But we are pretty good at this. So guys, I'll just stand out in the middle. Hands-free, you can watch. Guys, how do I talk so much? You know, I'm like, did I explain everything? And I took a look at the duration of the video and it's already 40 minutes. I mean, it's about the thing, guys, and people omit so much in their videos, and I don't want to omit anything, so the cost becomes the extreme duration of the videos. I hope it speaks to some of you. And the first few ways should be absolutely safe. So guys, one of the things that you do get from Simulacrum is the flask, right? You might wonder if, I mean, it's just a flask. Well, the thing is, let me tell you, there is money in there. Why? Because the thing is, guys, this place drops level 83 flasks, and level 83 flasks are the only flasks that can roll upwards of 75% of increased amount recovery. So, for example, guys, 76% to 80% is capped. Life or mana flasks only appear on flasks that are level 83 or higher. And there is no place that is better than this at dropping flask. I mean, I'm sure you have already observed. I have 2 by now. The mana flasks are worth less compared to the mana flask, life flasks, because guys, now Melting Maelstrom is the best flask for a lot of builds, and it's dirt cheap now because of the many people that are farming Simulacrum. So I shall keep you company. I do not have fancy ways of editing. We will have to go through the entire run, and I would like you to see the entire run. As you can see, I'm doing nothing yet. Alright, let's go. So up to like wave, I mean it varies, but I shouldn't be doing too much up until like wave 13 or so. And sometimes guys, infrequently, I get away with doing nothing at all. So the position that you are in matters. So guys, if you assume a position and you do not get hit much at the beginning of the wave, then that means you most likely won't be hit. As you can see, for example guys, I think I have taken 0 hits so far in all of the waves. And you know, I would definitely suggest that you turn off the first emotion from your filters, or you will be cluttering your inventory very fast. It's not worth very much, and it drops by a large amount. So I have turned it off. I believe it was called. I still pick up guilt because guilt is like 0.6 exalted, and you get more than 10 per round. So that creates a bit of value. And as you can see, even the boss melts instantly. So the delirium level will keep rising, and that means they take less damage and they deal more damage, and at some point I will have to provide some input most of the time. That is us being done with this wave. So 5 waves are already done, and it is pretty decent XP. So as the build becomes fully realized at 94, why? Because the last jewel slot you can obtain at 94. And of course I'm not saying it's bad before, but 90 is very important because you will be able to use the max level Scaled Frostmage. So let's go over the added skills. We get +4 from Trench Timber, we get +2 +1 from the helmet, that's 7. We get 3 from the amulet, that's 10. 5 from the flask, 5 from the scepter, I couldn't find the word. I'll start this in wave 7, 4, 7, 10, 15. Yeah, 15 from them, right? So we have 20 from the gem. We get a corrupted level 21 gem, so that is +1 there. 15 from equipment, that's 16. +3 from the Arbitrary Jewel, Prison of Belief, that is 19, and +1 from Megalomaniac, and we end up at +20. That caps us, right? And this is very important, guys. For those of you that have played Diablo 2, I mean, I liked Hammerdins back then, so what's it? Okay. And the thing is, you might remember this, nothing scales Blessed Hammer damage like Blessed Hammer levels, right? Same thing goes here. Nothing scales Scaled Frostmage damage like Scaled Frostmage level. And having a lot of levels on the Scaled Frostmage also enables what I told you. They become immortal, so you can let go of all the survivability knobs. Imagine, guys, these are all 11,000 HP with 67% armor reduction, 78 on resistances, and 2.2 life regen. I mean, they are not very close. So there will be drop bases like these. I suggest that you carry some alchemy orbs with you and do this. And the best thing is, you can do this while you are doing the wave because it's AFK, right? Sometimes the minions will stay behind, manually direct them here, or just move away, they will appear on you. Yeah, it's a little bit stupid. Sometimes they will stay behind if you don't push them. That's mediocre. So to make room, for example, And you can just drop them because you can't litter this place. By the time we start the next wave, it will go away. And at this point, guys, 0 input from me. So that's why we go for cold penetration instead of cold mastery. Cold mastery will give us +1 level, but we are already capped, so it doesn't do anything. And the bosses will have resistances, right? The cold penetration will allow us to penetrate it. Okay, so now we are going to wave 10. Then we will have 2 waves in the same place and 3 final waves in the same place. So up until this point, the spawn of the bosses has an increasing chance, but they are not guaranteed to spawn. Right? Even up to wave 12, the bosses are not guaranteed spawns, right? And if you get a boss, most of the time you will get just the one. But at level 13, 14, and 15, both bosses will spawn guaranteed. And as you can see, we are still quite face rolling. I'm just moving around for sport. This one is going pretty good. You know, we have been given no interruption so far. Okay, now we go for the final stuff. Okay. So guys, up until this point, I have done nothing. You have seen yourself. Okay. So at this point, I need to start being a little careful. So we took a hit, as you saw. But generally, we are pretty good at handling the damage that comes or the spawns. So at first, guys, I was thinking about, you know, surviving this place by having a lot of life and life regen because we already have a lot of life. See, guys, level wave 11 and no bosses at all. But at 13, 14, and 15, we will have the bosses. But the thing is, this place dishes out insane damage. It's not possible to survive them. So your offense becomes your defense. The stronger your minions are, the less they are able to survive. And you know, your amount of survivability is just meant to, you know, make you last until your minions can kill them. So minion damage is our best defense. Hey, the life is a bit low, but I think it's because of the hybrid roll. It's not bad. The only bad thing is, guys, this is the 3rd best quality evasion energy shield hybrid helmet. Yeah, it's not the best kind. Okay, let's just move to the last location. Because at this point there might be some feedback required from me. I might have to take action. So the problem with the bosses is, guys, they have a nasty habit of throwing their weapon at you. So if you can't line of sight them, if you do not have a clear line of sight, it can be safe. But if you do, they will throw the weapon at your face and they can jump on you. They will be most of the time frozen, but sometimes they can get through. The modifiers mean a lot because, for example, guys, take a look at this. They have more crit chance, which means you can get out of burst. They have more damage, and they have more ailment threshold, which means they will be harder to freeze, right? So increase stun threshold as well. We don't stun anyway, but let's see. So I have to be careful here. I might need to do something, and because you can't pay attention to the master modifiers all the time, it's just better to be on your toes. As the waves progress, you will be able to know this on your own. It will see. Couldn't full AFK, but that's it. And thing is, guys, maybe I could have survived it, right? But I don't want to find out because this is a bit of an investment, and I don't want to do it go away. We didn't take that many hits after the thing, right? So could have maybe handled it. Oh, 87% damage. I wish I had the thingy, but of course, without the +5 minion thingy. Okay, let's do it. Wave 14. there is one thing that's really dangerous, guys. The volatile plants modifier. They leave some roots on the ground and they throw that stuff. That deals very obscene amounts of damage. My record is getting single shotted by it. So yeah, nothing done this way. If I didn't do anything last wave, I think we would have survived. But thing is, guys, I did try that a few times and died, so it wasn't very pleasant. So what does this place drop, guys? It provides us a very hefty supply of flasks that you can see, as you can see. And we do get some rares. And so guys, I have hundreds and hundreds of hours in this game, and my lifetime level 20 spirit gem find was 0. But this place drops them every once and then, right? And in today's prices, they are worth 7 divines, right? So it's pretty good, 6 to 7 divines. See, the weapon is thrown at me. I'm gonna try to tank it. Well, I'll just drink it. But I think I would all know. I was not going to survive this. So guys, we were just off from a full AFK run, right? Because I think we could have handled the 13th wave even if I didn't interfere, but this one we would have died. So you could try to, of course, find a quieter corner or something. Okay, that does look okay. That does look bad. Okay, guys, the room is a bit of a problem. Okay, we got this one. And we have a shoe. That's it. So guys, what you should try, inventory managing, I would suggest to, not having to unload, right? So get some stuff, ID them, drop them, etc. So, one run, at the end of the run, it looks like this, right? And I'm picking up these. Maybe you could let go of the barriers and ultimatums. I don't like the experience of buying those, so I just picked them up. You could skip them. And what I would suggest is, dump the flasks in a tab, and when the tab is full, evaluate them. Keep in mind the mana flasks are worth less because there is this one that's for cheap anyway, but they could sell for a few divines. And let me tell you my record. I did sell a life flask for 12 divine. Yeah, 80% perfect. I think it was gaining extra charges or something. Yeah, and sold for 12 divine. And what about the grand prizes, guys? The grand prizes are sadly not very grand. There is the mana flask that can sell for about a divine at best. There is this one. It has varying skills on it, and if you can, corrupt it to have, so this one is not very good. So it can have plus 2 to 4 skills, and if you can corrupt it to have plus 5 skills, then it becomes worth divines. There is Megalomaniac. It's an extremely hard sale, sadly, but it can be valuable, but very slow as well. So the grand prize is the level 20 spirit gems if you can get them. Divines drop every once and then. There is the rares. But thing is, guys, the entrance to this place is cheap. Right? Around 150, 160 exalteds as of the time of this video. And you will always make more inside. Right? Did we make more this run? Well, indirectly, I suppose. Okay, let me just open the socket and corrupt it. Yeah, I think this is worthless now. Yeah, a few chaos at best. Oh, it's a third socket, I didn't notice. Still not very good. But guys, you can get stuff like this. It hasn't sold yet, but it would be worth about 60 divine or so when it is plus 5. So that's it, guys. That's the AFK Simulacrum farming thing, nearly AFK. If you have any questions, feel free to ask and I will try to help out. Bye bye.